Hello and welcome back to another Values episode here on my channel where I'm Jacob from Jacob's Books Corner, and today we're doing a writing video, or more importantly, Preptober episode 2 video. I'm pre-recording these back to back just for one reason, as I want to get them up very close to each other. I have a feeling this week is going to be somewhat of a double upload week, which is fine. I don't really like doing it very often, as it does ruin the algorithm of YouTube. Not that you probably care about that, but it's fine. So today we're going to be talking about pantsing, and so if you're not a pantser, this is not a video for you. I have pants several novels. Now, which is hilarious, because originally in yesterday's video, I went on a very big rant talking about how I like to, structure is important to me. Well, not to ever, but you can't really have structure when you pants a novel. Now, I do have to say, I was blessed with the ability to structureize anything. You can literally give me almost about anything and I can figure out a structure. I'm really good at structure sentences. I'm really good at novel structuring, scene structuring, chapter, whole 9 yards. I'm really good at doing all of those things and making sure every chapter and every scene is really fleshed out and well structured good. And I'm really good, if you, oh my gosh, I really should do papers. I'm not good at writing, well, my sister says I'm really good at writing papers. I don't really think I'm good at writing papers, grammar-wise or anything like that. But for structure, oh, if you have problems and you're in college or you're in high school and you have papers you need to write, MLA or any of the other formats, I'm pretty much the guy to go to be honest with you, because I'm really good at structure. That's not the point of this video, though. But, hey, tips and tricks I'm totally here for, and I could totally try to make a video on it. It's hard to do. It's just something more in your brain, or for me, personally. I could try to explain it. But, with that also being true, I also want to be a teacher, and so, it does help a little bit. My hair is just doing its own thing. I'm sorry. We're talking about pantsing, and these are just tips. Pantsing is very simple. If you guys don't know the difference between a pantser and a plotter, maybe you're trying to figure out who you are. A plotter is someone who plots out their whole entire novel in order to write their novel. I like to plot out my novel, but I also like to give myself a 7 to 10 day leeway in between writing and working on it, as I sometimes at the end feel like I have accomplished the whole novel and there's nothing left for me to write. Heavily plot my novel. Also, we have, or you can have a pantser, which is just someone who sits down one day and starts writing, and whatever comes out on page is, what they have. For instance, you could be like a Kate Kavanaugh. I love Kate Kavanaugh. I will try to link her channel down below if I remember. She's an amazing author too, but she pantses her first drafts normally, and she calls them 0 drafts, and which is something you could possibly get in the range of doing, and which is just a draft to get to know. It's basically what people do to outline their story, except they're doing it as their first draft. Sometimes it's not really readable, but there's enough there for you to be able to either make an outline off of, or to be able to write that second or first draft, And my tips for you, I have one very big and very important, and that is always to know one step ahead. So if you are pantsing a novel, normally you have an idea. For instance, with this idea for my story for NaNo, if I would just sit down on November 1st of 2019 and I would just start writing without having any of my knowledge that I have now, I would simply I would start from the beginning. Yet I had an idea of where the book was going to end, and normally when you pants a novel, you have an idea where it's going to start, you have an idea where it's going to end. It's normally the middle point, and so I do recommend the A to B method if you're a pantser, in which is simply just figuring out the beginning and figuring out the end, and you get to figure out the whole middle. It's all yours, but you get to know exactly where you're headed. Some people don't like this method because it can require you to underwrite as you know where you're going, and so it's not as fun, and you can find yourself not writing enough. Some people really like this method. The snowflake method is really fun. It's a different way to outline that doesn't require this much outlining. There's many different methods you can go look out there. I do recommend the AB method, and it's just a tip of mine. For a pantser, it's just to jot, even in your head. You don't even have to write it down if that's too much for you, which I understand. I'm not making fun of anybody who pantses. I am a pantser. I was a pantser for a long time. For instance, my contemporary project, which I'm working on in December, I pants a third of that. That my 17,000 words that I have written, or 20,000 words that I have written in that story, I have pants at least 8 or 9 thousand of those words. So like I'm there with you. I understand it's not the whole novel has been pants. It started as pants, and then I did an outline, and then I scrapped the outline, pants more, and then did an outline type of thing. And it is fun the pants as you get to go down corners that like an outline wouldn't allow you to take down. And so I do recommend if you are a plotter to give yourself leeway to be able to go down alleyways that you might not be able to explore that street over there in that world that you build. Even though it doesn't say explore in your outline, it could be really fun. There could be a fun story, and you can always twist back around to get back onto your main point. These do discover subplots, and the subplots do lead to corners. And so when you are outlining, another tip for you people who like pantsing a novel is after knowing the beginning and the middle, the beginning and end, or simply, 2 steps ahead. So let's say you have an idea for the beginning and you're writing, but you get kind of lost. Think about what you want to happen 3 chapters ahead of what you're in. After you have that idea and you know where exactly you're going, continue writing. It's just a little bit simpler than the AP method of just knowing point A to point B. You know A, B, C, D, E, F without writing them down. You just get to figure them out as you go. It's much more not confusing if you know what I'm talking about, or if you've ever done it the way I'm talking about. I do recommend that. For instance, I wrote a story once where I would plan out every 5 chapters, and so I could do whatever I want in those chapters leading up. For that 5th chapter, I had an idea. That could be a fun way for you to go if you're pantsing a novel. And these are major recommendations, especially if you're pantsing a novel during NaNoWriMo. There's many people who do it. There's many videos out there on YouTube, and I highly recommend you go and find them, because I think there's a lot of people who do say when they do pants a novel, especially during NaNoWriMo, where you don't have any time to sit there and relax. You're writing 1,600 words a day. I think it's like 1647 or something under those lines, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember if I put it. No, I have not put my word goal yet. But it's like 1647 or something like that, every single day. And when you're trying to hit that number, to hit that 50K at the end, if that is your goal, it is hard to do if you're just pantsing, because certain days you can write 8,000 words, if that's a you type of thing, if you have that time. And when you do hit that goal and you do, really do work on it, you could get into a rut and you get into a corner. And an outline helps you get out of that corner if you worked your way in there. And then sometimes, outlines can help you because you didn't have one. And I don't know. And I think corners are things that happen mostly to pantsers. I do know some people who write outlines and they still find themselves in there. And corners can be really, really hard to get out of. Because, like, it's a corner in the wall, and let's say you're just walking forward, but then you turn around and there's another corner, and then another corner, and it's really hard, and that's why I recommend knowing a few steps ahead, because sometimes the corners don't come about because you know where you're going, and maybe your brain can help you figure out to work your way through there. I never write myself into too many corners. I have before, and it's such a pain, and then having to figure your way out is even worse than writing yourself there. But like I said, structure has always come to me kind of easy, and so it does help me kind of stick around or being able to write out that corner. But not everybody can do that, and it's not me once again trying to be cocky or anything. It's just one of those things I'm really good at, and I know a lot of writers who are not super good at that, which is fine. And, this year's writing type of writing, basically. But for this one, for pantsing in particular, if you are, I wish you the best of luck. I'm very, very excited for you. I'm happy that you're writing your story, just like build in your brain for a long time. Or if you don't have a story and you're just going to write, that's also a fun thing about pantsing, is that I have so many just like first chapters of novels sitting in different, like devices or whatever, notes to my phone, where it's just really fun, where you just sit down one day and you just start writing, and if that story really speaks to you, you continue to write. I always have a rule that if I don't, the first 50 pages of a novel or first 100 pages, like what I read, if I'm not starstruck by then, what's the point of continuing when I know I'm not going to be in love? And those are really only places where you can do it, and I think pantsing really does prove. But for NaNo, it's a little different, and I think it's a little more complicated because you are on such a goal and such a rut. Um, and so that's why I do recommend just knowing a few steps ahead. But guys, that's the wrap up of this video. If you guys enjoyed it, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments down below if you're plotting or if you're pantsing. Are you a mixture of both? Are you just doing A and B? Or, you know, some people plot to the point where they don't like where they want to stop. And that could be the first 10 chapters, or some people plot out, you know, the whole structure of their book and then stop and then just let people, you know, you can do both. It's, you know, it gets a little more complicated that way, but it's possible. And I would love to know which way you are. Let me know in the comments down below, as I'm very curious. Alright, thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys very soon.